Determinants of conflict. Conflicts usually takes place between or amongst the people who are unequal or unequal. They enter into conflict because of, let's say, different interests, and these interests conflict with each other. So it can take place among groups that have different power, that they have different authority over others. So authority actually provides power to the incumbent of authority, and when that group exercises that authority, then that may be challenged, it may not be challenged. If it's a challenge, then it moves towards the situation of a conflict. So authority might be giving legitimacy to the power of a group or to those who exercise this power. So legitimacy usually is defined or determined or delimited by the norms of the society, and when the norms of the society give legitimacy to certain authority, it also provides, let's say, sanctions so that those who violate that authority may be brought back under control. So there are sanctions which are attached with that exercise of authority, that those who do not obey that authority might be punished, and the deterrence of the sanctions makes people obey that authority. So we see that there is a stable and recurrent patterns of authority, and when authority patterns continue over a period of time, then in that culture they get institutionalized, they can get recognized, and in certain situations these might be formalized in the form of rules and regulations. So these authorities generate conflict between those who have that authority and those who don't have or whom this authority is exercised. So we could call these two different groups. So these two groups could be considered as different classes. May not be two groups, maybe multiple groups. One group having authority, and there could be number of groups which might be under that authority. So class signifies conflict groups in organizations in which orders are given and taken. Orders are given on the basis of authority, and those who are under that authority, they have to obey those orders. So by virtue of the exercise of that authority, the people who have the authority or the group who have the authority, they give orders to those who are under them. So authority may be, could be put into only two categories, although sometimes we can put it on a scale, but here focus is on, let's say, two types. Maybe people have the authority or they don't have the authority. So incumbents' interests are formed accordingly, that whether they have to exercise, they have the power to exercise, and on whom they exercise, to what extent do they obey, and maybe in certain situations they might disobey. So these persons group may have more or less authority, then conflict may come from other groups as well. So if we are looking at one group which has the authority, which might be considered as one class, and another group on whom the authority is exercised might be considered as another class. Now these class situations can lead to a situation of a conflict. And this conflict does not continue for all the times to come. This conflict might get resolved, and it might lead to a certain situation of balance or consensus. So the conflict needs certain necessary prerequisites, and here we might call them as determinants. And we started with the determinants as inequalities in the groups, inequalities from different angles, and one inequality could be considered as power or authority, and the exercise of this authority on those who are without that authority can generate conflict.